is it. Episode 527, No Laugh Track podcast here at Acme Comedy Company in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am Justin Severson, host each and every week here, talking to Nate Abshire. I think I counted them up 7 or 8 of these bad boys so far.
500 and what?
527.
527, that's so many.
Dude, it's so many.
And I'm on 7 or 8 of them?
It's yes, today's either 8 or 9.
That's crazy.
I know. So that, some of those were an hour long, others half. There's some serious Nate Abshire content out there. When you search your name on a podcast app, I am proud to say that this podcast comes up many times.
Since my album got taken off Spotify, it's one of the only things on there. If you search me on Spotify, it's just No Laugh Track.
Yeah, so I searched that today to see if it was on Spotify. Is there a good reason why it's not on there anymore?
It has something to do with a lawsuit I'm not at all involved in. But some comedians or something, some entity representing a bunch of comedians sued Spotify.
This is from a few years ago at this point, right?
Yeah, it's a few years old now. Sued Spotify for something.
I still see other people's like Jackie Cation was here, and she's like, "Oh, I guess mine are back up." So it doesn't even seem like there's any rhyme or reason.
Yeah, so I think what happened initially is they took everything down comedy-wise that could be later included in the suit or a separate suit. So like I think my album probably in terms of the contract between them and the label qualifies for all of the same criteria that the lawsuit does. So it's down and like. And the thing that's really fun about, like, Spotify or TikTok or Pandora or all of those things, Pandora a little less so, is that, like, good fucking luck. Good fucking luck talking to a real person and getting a straight answer.
Yeah.
I'm still don't have the copyright on TikTok for the material that I've produced.
Okay. So
I get, like, copyright strikes posting my own material from that same album.
That's a thing?
Yeah. So then I've appealed it, and you just never hear back. You just fill out all these forms, and you submit the documentation, and then I did that in June.
No shit, man.
And, like, never heard back, and, like, and it's like, well, okay, I guess. So now, I have to keep clips of my own jokes from my album. If I use a joke from my album for a video, I have to keep it under a minute, or they mute the audio because it's copyrighted.
Until you have no idea when.
Until forever, basically. Like I know people that's been happening to for years. Like there's just no way around it. There's no one to talk to. Like all of it's just not a very clear process. Like
I did not know it went like that.
Oh,
wow.
It's mind-boggling. And like Spotify's the same way. Where like hey, why isn't my album up anymore? And like I don't know, man. You're filling out like a customer request. You know what I mean? Like there's just not something that there's not a team.
No, it's
working on it.
You're probably getting familiar with the automation there and getting real pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, streaming, it's the way of the future, Nate. It's going to get your shit in everybody's hands.
It is.
I mean, they're just going to be able to search your name and it's going to be right. Oh.
Yeah.
Turns out maybe CDs would have been, who knows?
Unless something happens. And
no shit.
Yeah. So it's not on Spotify, but it is everywhere else.
Yeah. Weird. So
Yeah.
like on Apple, it's still there. Like people can stream it and stuff there, and of course buy physical copy. Is there a physical copy?
No.
So it's only streamed. That's the
No,
only
we
people
didn't
can
make
get
any physical copies.
Oh jeez. Have you considered burning them in your like bedroom computer or anything, just to?
I wonder.
Have them up there.
I have not, but mostly because that's so much work. Yeah, God, the whole thing is pretty infuriating. Although the TikTok thing makes me way angrier because the Spotify thing's old.
Sure,
but yeah.
Yeah, your own stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that you can't do your own stuff is
and there's like
ridiculous.
There's not a pipeline to be like, hey, that's mine.
Yeah.
Like I know that it sounds like me because it is. It's me the whole time.
Do you have a certificate of authenticity that says that this is you?
Yeah. I need something, man.
You're gonna have to send a blood test to TikTok to China. Are you willing
Like
to send
23andMe to see how closely related I am to Nate Abshire?
Are you willing to send a vial of blood to China for confirmation? Oh boy.
How do we get new COVID? Well, Nate was trying to get approved on TikTok.
You wanted his tracks back. So does it? I mean, do you have plans for recording again soon, or does this make you want to go? Well, fuck that. I gotta have to change everything.
Oh, I don't know that I'll record soon, but I feel like my next hour is maybe halfway there.
Okay.
It's not like there's no, if I didn't record, there's not really anything else to do. Do you know, like, other than write a new hour and record it? It's
Sure.
not like I'm gonna be like, well, I think I'm gonna get into pancakes.
You should think about that more.
I had a joke during COVID that I was like, comedy's been hit so hard that I think I'm gonna open a restaurant.
Yeah, because they always work well,
Right.
don't they?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, no, restaurants never failed.
Right.
So did I see on your social media, it was in the last few months, that you were doing a show somewhere and you were complaining because the televisions weren't being shut off, that they couldn't shut them off. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a casino show, and before the show, the producer was trying to get them to turn the TVs off, and like, I don't know if you've ever interacted with casinos at a level of not just gambling there, but there's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of steps to getting anything changed from the normal operating procedure.
Interesting. Including turning televisions off?
Yeah, well, I guess no one really knows exactly what happened, but I think what happened, like all the TVs are on the same switch.
Oh, dear God.
So, like, they could either turn all of the TVs off.
Come on.
Or none of the TVs off. And, like, in the bar alone, there's, like, 40 TVs. And, like, it's showtime, and we're going to have someone go around to each TV with a fucking 20-foot ladder and, like, turn them off manually.
Yes.
But I don't like to think of that being the real answer. I like to think of it being that the TVs defy physics and cannot physically be turned off.
Yes.
Like, I like to think of it like these TVs, like, flash forward 30 years, the global energy crisis has crippled humanity, right? We live in these dusted out hovels. We only travel by foot. There's no internet anymore, no electricity. The TVs are still fucking on. Roaming gangs of bandits go by this rusted out casino, all the TVs.
It's still showing their 2-for-1 specials.
Powered by infernal machinations, just still shining bright. The TVs cannot be stopped.
Have you, I assume that's probably something you've had to deal with before at, smaller venues and stuff, right? Bar shows.
Yeah, those shows are rarely done for the art. You're rarely there like, oh, man.
That's very funny.
Here I am, Charlie Chaplin in Dickinson, North Dakota.
That's very funny. I was I listening to an episode of Maron's podcast? Or it doesn't matter. Anyway, I heard him say recently that he was doing a show somewhere, and like here at Acme when they do the receipt drop, it's comedians always say how quiet it is, and a lot of times you don't notice. Correct?
Right.
You can back that up.
Yep.
Mark Maron was saying he was doing a show somewhere, and they're using those new handheld machines, and they're collecting money during the show, his set, and every time a payment goes through, it goes doo-doo.
Amazing.
Can you even believe that, dude?
I love it.
Doo-doo.
I was at a club recently, and I got someone videoed one of the sets, and it was really funny because the club served food, and there was a girl eating cheese sticks through my whole set, and it's just so funny watching her try to enjoy the show over the cheese sticks and failing.
Oh no!
There's no way to compete with it, and it's just so funny because she's kind of center frame behind me, and there's a lot of people laughing at the jokes, and she's just sitting there smiling, looking at me and eating cheese sticks. And I just looked at it at the beginning of this week, and I was like, I'm so glad Acme doesn't serve food.
Oh, yes.
Because everyone there's no way to compete with a cheeseburger.
No. I've said it on the podcast before. I've gone out of town and gone to comedy clubs that Side Splitters in Tampa. I've gone to a few times now, and they serve food there. Being there, I didn't hate that I was able to eat during the show. I have to say, but also I hated being around everyone else eating. You know, and I'm not a performer, but I can only imagine how distracting that can be.
I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think it's weird as when you consider yourself an artist to realize, like, you're really just a specialty nightclub act at a specialty nightclub. The only thing that separates a comedy club from a dance club is the specialty of the club.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and, like, they're going to serve fucking French fries, man. People like French fries. They're going to serve French fries.
Yes,
There's
they do.
nothing to be done. We can bang our heads against the wall all we want. And we go back to our apartment. And
Do you ever mess around with AI? Like ChatGPT or any of that?
No.
No?
Although I did recently see a picture of RoboCop with a giant dump truck ass. And it's the funniest picture I've seen in my life. It was like AI generated RoboCop, but with like a Pixar mom ass. And it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. No, I don't.
Well,
really
that's what
mess
it should be invented for.
Yeah, I mean,
Stop right there.
Yes, yes,
As RoboCop would say, stop right there.
right. I want to see the Kool-Aid man with some big old titties.
Just some juicy titties. So big old fruit punch titties. So I went to ChatGPT based on me. I was going to ask you about doing that set where the TVs wouldn't go off. I asked ChatGPT, what are the 20 worst locations for stand-up comedy?
Oh, I love this.
And I didn't know how it was going to take that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just going to read this to you here, right?
Okay.
And you can hop in after any of these. You can you can add your comments. Feel free. So it says, performing stand-up comedy in unconventional or serious settings can be challenging. Some potentially challenging locations could include. You should also say if you've ever performed.
I'm
at
on
any
the
of
edge
these.
of my seat. I want to say that I think that a lot of these are going to be places that comedy is done regularly.
Well, the first one they list is funeral homes.
Okay. All right. Now I see which direction the computer's going with this.
Yeah. Exactly. You didn't know which way Chat GPT was going to go. So, funeral homes, libraries.
Yeah.
Have you done any of these?
I've not done either of those. Never done a funeral home or a library.
Morgue.
Underwater. Yeah, okay. But what are we talking about?
They get better. Ready? Silent meditation retreat.
Oh, that's so funny. I actually...
DMV waiting room.
that would be fun.
Yeah. How did Chat GPT come up with this? The International Space Station. Monasteries. Quiet carriages on trains. Mime conventions.
Okay.
Come on, Chat. Fish markets. I would argue that would be a really fun place to see comedy. Elevator rides, serious business meetings, and haunted houses.
Wow.
So way to go.
Serious business meetings feels like code for corporate comedy.
Absolutely.
to me.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's like, oh, we're serious business people, so for our company party, we want to have a comedian come out.
Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible fucking idea.
Do you ever do those for the right pay?
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
Anytime anyone asks me to do a corporate, I try to talk them out of it. I genuinely do.
That's some solid business.
My first response is always, "Hey, listen, I'm glad," because it's always someone that saw me at a nightclub, works at a company, and they pass a video around and people like it or something like that.
Mhm.
That's how that usually happens. And I'm like, look, I'm glad you like it. Corporate comedy is not something I do, and I know that you guys like it, but I'm a bad fit for this sort of environment. And I do know some guys that are really good at it. I'd be happy to recommend some comedians for you. I'll do it if you really want me to. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not a great comic for it.
Did you learn that? Did someone have to experience this and go, oh?
In the before time, the long, long ago, I had a manager who kind of taught me about taking the money versus good business practices.
Okay.
And that was one of the things that I learned. Because I remember in those days, I got an offer for a gig, and it was like a lot of money, and I knew it was going to be a train wreck. And I ran it by him, and I was like, I kind of want to just do the gig. And in my mind, like, the bridge is burned forever, but who cares? I still get a couple grand or whatever. And he kind of told me that that's a mistake, and I agree with him. Because also, like, it's... I'm so bad at fucking radio silence, by the way, because
People can
I'm
handle
stupid and I think really slowly.
People can handle the second.
But
or two.
it's just not worth it in the long run. You know, do you remember Kyle Cease's "Anyone Can Be a Millionaire" headliner stuff? Like,
oh yeah,
like that kind of scam is really short-lived, and I don't want to inject that sort of take the money and run into what is I'm going to keep doing stand-up comedy, and I don't want a bunch of people out there being like, that guy's a fucking, you know what I mean?
Sure. I think it's wise.
So I try to talk them out of it. I still do it if they want me to.
Sure.
And I'll try. Like, I'm not going to go up there and do all my tight pussy jokes when I'm doing a corporate. But the reality is that my clean material is still disrespectful to a point that it aggravates professional people in that setting. Even my
Acme needs a marquee that has that written when Nate's here. Are you kidding me?
I've got a Target story that's like a very clean joke.
Okay.
But it is not corporate friendly.
Especially to Target.
Especially to Target. And so I just don't have the kind of yes, sir, thank you, sir attitude on stage that they want in a corporate comic.
Sure.
Even my just any of a lot of my clean jokes are all a lot of them are drug related. That's what I consider clean stuff. And I'm not really that dirty of a comic, but I saw Jesselnick on a podcast recently, and he said the whole point of comedy is to get away with it. Basically, I'm very deeply paraphrasing what he said because I don't remember the exact words, but I like to talk about stuff where I don't want you to immediately be a yes. I want to get you there.
Okay.
But I'm not it's not filthy, but I like to talk about stuff where I think people might be a little resistant to the ideas at first. And to me, that's where the fun is turning it.
Yeah.
And corporate stuff really needs to be my wife and I, boy, we're silly. How about you guys? Or whatever. I mean, I'm also being dismissive of corporate comedy because I can't do it, to be fair.
What if someone wrote you a set to perform in corporate settings, like you and Brian Miller wrote a set for Tommy Ryman to do that was released last week?
It would be a train wreck. I'm actually still trying to hunt down the jokes that he wouldn't tell because I forgot them.
Okay.
So I'm trying.
So there are... okay.
There were 2 jokes that he refused to tell. and I don't remember them, and I haven't found anyone that does.
Did you then send them to Matt Rife?
No, it wasn't anything like that.
Okay.
I actually haven't. I've only heard about his special. I haven't watched it,
I haven't either.
but I've heard that it is about what I would have expected. But so anyway, wait, what were we talking about?
I was,
Oh, if someone wrote me a set, I have a really, really bad track record of trying to do jokes I haven't written.
oh, really?
Even when someone like a long time ago, a friend of mine gave me a joke because it didn't work in his act and it feels more like my act, and like I could just never get it to work. I just don't.
Don't people do that all the time?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can use a line from someone else in a joke of mine,
But the whole idea has to
But-
be yours.
but like, yeah, it just doesn't. My brain doesn't do it right.
Interesting.
I think part of it is the ADHD, where like I have to know it almost like muscle memory in order to even come close to delivering it on stage.
As soon as you said that, it made sense to me.
Like there's just something about it being someone else where like I just can't even remember the fucking words, because when I tell a joke that I've written, I don't remember the words. I remember the point. And so when I'm first doing a joke especially, I'll say it 500 different ways
Sure.
before I sort of settle into the way it normally goes. And so that just makes it really difficult for me to like just take a joke from someone and do it.
Yeah.
You know.
How, we got one night in this week at Acme. How was last night?
Really fun.
Yeah.
Really fun.
I wasn't able to make it. Who else is performing?
So Sean Nafstead is hosting. Trevor Anderson's featuring. They both did great.
Awesome.
They're awesome dudes.
Hell yeah.
We had, like 80 people, which was good. And they were great. I'm like, this week I'm trying to squish together a bunch of material that I wrote and performed a lot a few years ago. And then, but it's like, it ended up being like 35 minutes of material. And I want to get that down to like 15 to 20.
Oh, wow.
Because it's just too much on the same. It's like I'm hitting the same nail for way too fucking long. And so I've been trying to rewrite this sort of like whole. This week it's like the middle chunk of my set. That's kind of all about like dating and how men are pigs and all that kind of stuff.
Are you doing one of my favorites of yours with the Russian accent? Is that joke in the set this week?
I did it last night, but
Don't tell me it didn't go well, because that's impossible. That joke is so freaking
I
funny.
think I haven't done it in a little bit, and so that's part of why. It's not really even how that joke goes, because that joke goes a few different directions, sort of independent of how well I tell it. Because that joke in particular asks a lot of the audience, mostly in terms of prior knowledge. You have to have a lot of very distinct pieces of information to find that joke funny.
Okay.
But the
I don't even know what I know to know that that's funny, but I'm glad I do.
The most important piece that you have to know is you really have to intimately know the structure of Jeff Foxworthy's "You Might Be a Redneck" jokes. And that's not as common as you would think. Like, I know it. You know it.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are in the industry know that very, very well, right? Like, if you might be a redneck, right? Like, we all know that's the way that goes.
Yeah.
But the whole joke hinges on you knowing that, so that when I invert it, it's funny. But also, that joke is a really fun back of the room joke, basically. I don't know that
Fair
joke
enough.
ever ends up on an album.
Okay.
I guess. So like I love doing it. The thing I like about it Also, it's just that it's so dumb. It's
Yes,
such a dumb fucking
it's
joke.
absolutely ridiculous. Yes.
It's so stupid, and it's very unlike anything else I do.
Yes. Yes.
Like I don't really do voices. I don't really do this sort of meta character shit.
Yes.
Like so it's fun for me to do, but like in a general set, it's like a short set joke, kind of.
Sure.
In a lot of ways for me.
Speaking of short set, second week in a row, I see the open mic thing that Malcolm puts up online, and you're not the final performer of open mic. I always thought the headliner took that last spot, longest spot.
Yeah.
Tommy Ryman did not do that last week, and you did not do that this week.
No, I don't want to be here that late.
It's just that simple?
Yeah,
just want to go home?
I want to go home. Also,
is that going to start catching on now?
I think it's more common than you might realize.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of times they'll make the... Here's the thing. Closing a regular show, I think, has an amount of prestige among people that don't regularly do that.
Okay.
Meaning, like when I was a feature, or when I was regular feature, like headlining a regular show meant a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but headlining the open mic, that's not a spot people want. You don't want to go last on the open mic.
I guess I always thought just because that always seemed to be the longest time. You're not doing 10 minutes the fourth person in, are you?
Well, no. At least you shouldn't.
Ah, okay. All right. Fair enough.
I went a little long in
no
my
one
spot
I want
on
to say no one
Tuesday.
said ask Nate why he went long. I have no idea if you did or not.
But I also apologized.
Oh boy, I didn't know I was
before I got
uncovering.
off stage.
I had no idea.
I think I think I did like 7. And I was trying. I just really wanted to get that last joke out.
They know you've earned it. They know.
I never try to. Every time I go over my time, I'm sorry. I'm always sorry. But sometimes it happens.
Sure.
And I don't have. Listen, I have ADHD, and it's be really cruel to bring up my own personal mental deficiencies. I also come from a broken home, and my parents divorced when I was very young. So, listen.
I mean, are you reading all these excuses off a sheet of paper I don't see over there?
Oh no,
or
I've
what?
got them ready.
Okay.
I've got them ready. I have a lot of excuses.
Your parents.
They divorced. They divorced when I was very young. I come from a single-parent household, and
I wasn't born in Minnesota. What more do you want from me?
yeah, those public school systems weren't that good.
You're forgiven. Jeez.
And back then there wasn't the Derek Zoolander Center for Kids Who Want to Learn to Read Good and do other stuff good too.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so like the last spot on the open mic is more about them finding someone that they can make do it rather than someone wanting to. The other exception to that though is that if you want to do something really weird at the mic,
Oh, sure.
it's generally expected that it's last.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
So like back in the day when like Lester and Derek did the slap
Yeah.
contest.
There was wrestling going on stage.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, slapping.
where they were
yes.
like bare-chested slapping each other
Yes.
as hard as they could. That's a last slot bit.
Okay.
You don't do that and then go back to stand-up. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you want to do a weird character, I'm just picking things out of a hat, I don't even remember what it was, but yeah, if you want to do something weird like that, that's like the spot for that kind of thing. Like back when I first started, there were a couple comics where they would like go up together last and just keep talking till everyone left.
And that was allowed, I guess.
Yeah.
Anything goes.
Yeah, it was, you also kind of got the sense 15 minutes into them being on stage that the show's over and they're being hilarious.
Well, that's
They're
great
being
then.
hilarious about the show being over.
Yeah. Kind of meta, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, open mic is for falling on your face.
Sure.
And I think I was just talking to some comics about that because like the newer comics, like they bring their best stuff here to the open mic. Right. 'Cause they
Right.
want to keep getting on the open mic, but once you work here, like
It's the opposite.
yeah.
You want to
So-
keep working, but you're trying to get the new stuff going.
Yeah, I come here to work out new stuff. So there's a thing that's really the funny sort of is like the newer open micers. When you see Acme comics at Acme on the open mic, you're like, well, these guys aren't that good because they're not doing stuff that already works.
Yeah.
And all the open micers are, right? And then you see them at a regular show and you're like, oh, this is completely different. I mean, I don't know. That was something that we noticed, like when I was brand new and I was bringing like the best new 3 minutes that I had to the mic.
Sure.
And then when you see the comics then that were like later in the show, saw them at a live show, I was like, oh man,
Completely different. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense. So what do you plan for the rest of the winter, etc.? Lots of shows or?
As many as I can get paid to do. I'm going to Ann Arbor in January. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. The last time I was
Is that another Sklar Brothers show?
No, I'm headlining.
In Ann Arbor?
Yeah.
That's like they're
Oh yeah.
kings there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but you're saying you're headlining
Alumni.
there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm headlining. I want to say January 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Okay, awesome.
But so I initially, the first time I went there, they brought me as a feature.
Yeah.
And then I was supposed to go back this February, last April, but I got COVID, and then I had to cancel it. And I was really bummed out because I really wanted to work there. But
Yeah.
I just got the date in January, so I'm excited. And the week after New Year's is typically not a huge party week, but I think it'll still be a lot of fun.
Do you have a New Year's show?
No.
Nothing? Do you
No.
want one?
I tell people when they ask me about New Year's, I'm really expensive on New Year's because I'm happy to not work.
Yeah.
I really am.
Mhm.
And so like a long time ago, I'm like, I'm not doing like New Year's shows for $200 ever again.
Yeah.
It costs money to get me to work on New Year's, and like it might even be better spent on another comic. That normally I'm pretty good bang for your buck in terms of headliner, right? Like normally I'm like a budget pick. I'm off-brand kids cereal. They don't know the fucking difference.
Sure.
But on New Year's, the sale's over. Like you got here on the wrong day.
For the record, that's mostly what we get at my house is the off-brand.
Mhm.
So that's why
Yeah.
I'm such a big fan of yours.
Yeah,
It just
exactly.
works.
Yeah,
It's all tied together.
It's a dehydrated marshmallow. How different could it be?
Exactly. Those colors aren't natural from either company, so
Right.
don't worry about it. Is there anything else we should be mentioning? We've done about a half hour here. Is there? I am curious. I know you're on all the social media stuff. What is in your TikTok feed? Do you spend any time on TikTok, and what is in your feed if you are?
I haven't spent enough time watching TikTok to really have an algorithm yet.
Okay.
But generally, I'm like cooking videos. I actually do enjoy cooking. I know I made restaurant jokes earlier.
Well, I mean, I ate your cooking earlier this year at that get-together over at Foser's place, and that was freaking amazing, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Amazing.
I love cooking.
God.
So I do watch a lot of cooking videos. Like I watched one where a guy he like makes food out of the whole watermelon.
Oh.
Where like the way that I eat watermelon is to eat the middle part and throw the rest away.
Yeah.
But he made kimchi out of the white part of the rind,
Okay.
and then made basically like a wheatgrass puree out of the peel. It's almost the exact same chemical composition as like wheatgrass for like smoothies and shit.
Sure.
So he like peels it, uses the peel to make smoothies, and then makes kimchi out of the rind, and then eats the regular.
Do we have any
Watermelon.
idea if this tastes good at all, though?
Well, wheatgrass doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
So
probably
it probably
not.
tastes about the same. But
Probably not.
the rind would make a great pickle, because it's just kind of it only tastes bad if you want it to taste like watermelon.
We were, this is sort of connected. Thanksgiving. My uncle was telling us he volunteers at a food shelf, and occasionally they get in crates of pickled cactus.
No
Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah.
Have you had it?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Am I the whitest freaking person ever that I don't know about this?
It's a really good. I don't like beans in chili, and it's a great additive for chili.
Really?
Just like meat and nopales is what it's called.
Nopales.
It's like a specific. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's like a
Sure.
specific cactus that's peeled and pickled, and then there's all. I don't know, the raw preparation. I think that there's like a lot more that goes into it, but you can also do that. I think you have to like peel off some kind of. There's like a slimy skin thing.
I'm
that
picturing
happens or
something
like
yeah,
that.
It has to be.
I looked into it a while back when I was trying to make
No shit.
a cactus chili. Yeah,
If you ever
Yeah.
get some together, invite me. I want to try it. All right? How about that?
I will. Chili is one of those things that I've never really gotten good at. I've been messing around with like salad dressings. I've been making my own salad dressings. Really, what's happened is over COVID, I started doing a lot more of my own food preparation in terms of the things that I've always historically bought at the store. And the thing I realized is that industrialized food is a fucking scam. And it is. Here's my example, and I've been telling everyone this week.
Love it. Let's go.
3 days ago, I made my own sour cream. Now, my whole life, I don't know if this is different for you. My whole life, I've bought sour cream at the store
Mm-hmm.
and sort of been under the impression that like it's a difficult process to make sour cream. Right? Do you
I would never even think about.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like a thing that seems like I don't know, is it alchemy? I'm assuming that there's milk involved.
I was just gonna say, milk is the one I think ingredient
and then
I could
that's
guess.
all that I know. So the way you make sour cream is you take cream and you put lemon juice in it, and then you let it sit there for a few hours. And that's the whole fucking process.
No, it's not.
Swear to God. I took a pint of heavy cream and I squeezed a lemon's worth of juice into it. A little extra, probably like 1 1/4 lemons into it.
Yeah.
And then I walked away for 8 hours. And then I put a lid on it. You stir it. Sorry, I don't want to skip a step here. You stir it and put a lid on it and put it in the fridge, and it's sour cream, and it tastes better than any sour cream you've ever had in your entire life, because the way that they make sour cream in the factory
Okay.
is they use whatever industrial acid to create that reaction. But they don't use cream. They use a combination of cream and milk because it's cheaper. And then they put in a gelatinizing agent to give it that structure so that it's like scoopable,
Sure.
right? But it's not even fucking close to how good it tastes if you make it at home. And it takes 3 minutes of active time to make. It's the easiest thing in the world. I was like so mad about my whole life eating this garbage ass sour cream and paying the same price for it.
Yeah.
You know, and it just keeps forever. I started making my own pickles, and like I can't go back to fucking pickles now. Like I make my own cucumber pickles. I'm actually not that big into, but I make my own pickled jalapenos and pickled red onion.
Look at that.
And like, dude, I can't even eat like prepackaged salad dressing anymore because it tastes like actual garbage.
I am a big fan of eating like buffalo chicken wings with blue cheese, and I'm all out of blue cheese. Is that something I can easily make at home?
Yeah, it takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just most blue cheese dressings, it's like cream and then basically all of the creamy ingredients that you would think. So it's like got mayo, cream, sour cream, maybe even a little cream cheese, just like all of that together, and then blue cheese, and you just stir it. That's it.
I'm in. So one final thing I'm thinking here, like Trevor, who's
Yep.
said is the feature this week.
Yep.
after the shows, he'll be out there with his artisanal spatulas
Yep.
and spoons and whatnot. Or spoons, spatula? Yeah, both, right?
Yeah. I think he's branching into spoons. He's a I think
Spatula.
he started as a spatch
That's
man.
right. Spatchman. So when are we gonna see Nate's Pickles? Like, out with a label out there.
You know, I've honestly thought that it would be really fun to start a food company just making real food. Just sour cream or pickles or and all of it just almost as a way to show people the way we've been living isn't right. It's not fair what they've done to us, because the industrial food sort of they mystify food prep in a way to keep people buying their products. It's good for them that we think cooking is hard, when the reality is cooking is the easiest hobby, because okay, let's say woodworking, to use Trevor as an example. If woodworking is your hobby and you massively fuck up a project, it is not a cabinet. It's scrap wood.
Yeah.
When I massively fuck up an omelet, it's still food. You can still eat it. It just doesn't look like an omelet.
We were at Taco Bell once in high school, late night, complaining with the food, and the manager came out and said, "It's not shit, it's food."
Right. It's so, food is like the Mitch Hedberg escalator joke. Cooking, right, where an escalator can never break down; it can just become stairs. Right.
Yeah.
So it's not always Gordon Ramsay, but it's still fucking food.
Yeah.
So I'm never gonna do pickles as merch. I'm never gonna do food as merch, mostly because I don't have any scale to my operation.
Sure.
Every jar of pickles that I make, I cut all of those fucking cucumbers myself. So
They're for you.
I don't scale up, but
You could be doing I know that you and I have talked about this in the past and I think you even had an idea about maybe doing a thing on YouTube at one point, right? Now,
yeah, during COVID, I was thinking about doing a little cooking show.
okay, well instead you do what we're talking about right now on TikTok. Dude, you could build a huge following.
I mean,
Sounds like a lot of work, but
maybe.
it also sounds like something you could have fun doing.
It's something that I'm interested in for sure. But it's also the thing that, and this is probably too inside baseball in terms of brand strategy, but there's the overlap between people that might enjoy my comedy and people that are really into cooking videos, where I'm not particularly funny when I'm talking about cooking. So I just don't trying to find that overlap is weird for my brain.
I bet it would come, but sure.
Well, it usually does.
Hi!
Let's go. There's that comedy. All right. Yeah, I don't know. It's still something that I'm kicking around. I just right now I've been really focused on stand-up, so I do most of the cooking just for me. And most of the cooking that I do is just subsistence cooking.
Sure.
We're just batch roast a bunch of cauliflower to have as a side for the week.
Yeah.
And then do different stuff for protein and stuff. But
Sure. I got to get into more of that. Instead, it's a quick trip over to the fast food or get it as I go.
Well, my thing, I feel like this is so boring, but I could talk about it forever.
It's at the end of the episode.
I need low. Yeah, people have already turned it off. I need low energy investment when I'm hungry. So when I want to eat, it can't take a lot of effort to make food happen.
Oh yeah.
But I do have time to I do have energy for those same processes at different times, just not when I want to eat. So my goal is always to make it so that I can walk into the kitchen
and
open a few jars and have a meal.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that pickles do is just add brightness to a fucking quesadilla, which takes 2 minutes to make, that sort of thing.
I hope this inspires me.
I hope it does too.
Mm-hmm. It would help my financial situation Oh, what are we going to get tonight? Culver's again?
Over COVID, I spent so much money on DoorDash, and I haven't done it in years now. And, like, God, it sucks. It just sucks. Even the restaurants you like, it's cold. They don't even have hot bags, so it just gets there, and it's had time to, like, not just get cold, but for there to be condensation from when it was warm on the top of the container.
Oh, yeah.
That's then soaked back in. It's, like, already stale. Like, God, it's such a fucking bummer, man.
You want to tell the guy, dude, you should have just ate it.
Like,
on the way over.
I had one. Do you remember Bite Squad?
Oh, yeah. It's not around?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
But
sure,
I stopped ordering from them after this. I ordered a sandwich, and it got there, and what had happened was it was hot, and then the condensation that formed on the top of the container soaked back into the bread, and then it got hard. It had been made over 2 hours ago, and they brought it to my house, and I contacted customer support, and I was like, this is inedible, and also, like, shouldn't have been delivered this far past being made. And they were like, oh, sure, how about a $20 gift card for our service? And I was like, I want a refund for the service that I just got. And they're like, best I can do is a $20 gift card. And I'm like, that doesn't cover the sandwich. Like, you're not even, it's so fucking wild to me. Like, imagine a brick and mortar delivery place where they deliver you inedible food, and they're like, best we can do is a discount on your next order.
Yeah, right. Because you will continue to be our customer.
Right.
See you next time.
Anyway, and I don't like to complain about customer service stuff, and obviously I wasn't mean to the driver. I'm sure that was like, whatever. But those services, it's the exact same as the TikTok and Spotify customer service where there isn't any.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Yep.
you know. Anyway.
Yep. The world is nothing
I'm so fun on podcasts.
The world is nothing but self-checkouts, Nate. That's just the way it is. So finally, people need to come see you here at Acme this weekend.
Yeah, and I'm a lot more fun on stage. I am. Honestly, food prep doesn't come into it at all. I don't have any bad customer service stories. There was one I used to tell, but I don't do it anymore. I was at the supermarket, and I put a bunch of broccoli in a bag because I was like, I'm going to get healthy. And I went, and I put it on it wasn't self-checkout, but I put it on the belt, and the lady was like, how much broccoli did you get? And I was like, the card reader was like between me and the broccoli. I couldn't really see it. So I was like, I don't know, however much is right there. And then she looks at me and goes, sir, it's not my job to know how much broccoli you got. And then I said, that is absolutely your job. In fact, in this whole scenario, if you have one job, it's to know how much of everything that I bought.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing right now, is counting it all. So you guys can charge me the appropriate amount of money for it.
We could both just guess.
Anyway.
Hilarious.
So I'm an asshole, and that's the real...
Perfect.
That's the real takeaway I want people to have. And honestly, a good expectation coming into a show.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that'll be it. And then afterwards, come out to the show and then stop Nate after the show and ask him and let him know what you thought. See ya.